Well, guys, you remember that audio transformer that was so ugly on the N3 chassis? Well, here it is. And as you can see, I was already in the process of cleaning it, unfortunately. And the reason why I say unfortunately is this. As you remember, it was completely covered in that gooey black stuff which you still see on the wires and here on the coils itself or themselves. Well, the tar or the liquid tape was put on there apparently for a reason. Somebody mounted a transformer into this radio which doesn't work. I measured the resistance of the primary and the secondary, and the secondary is fine, it's just peachy. But the primary gives nothing, zero, zilch. In other words, there's a break inside the primary. And obviously, I'm not going to uncoil this transformer and redo it. Obviously not. Even though it's the original one. I'm not going to bother. So, whomever covered this transformer with liquid tape or tar was really trying to do something desperate. It must at the time already have worked pretty badly, and they tried to save the radio by tarring up the transformer, weirdly enough, or by putting in a tar transformer. Whomever knows, I don't. In any case, the result is that the radio is repaired, but now it's without an audio transformer. So I have to start locate a transformer which will work inside this radio. Bloody hell. And I thought I was nearly finished. Not so. So there you go. This is the update for now. So I'm a step, or rather I thought I was a step closer to, well, repairing this radio, and now it seems I must take a step back and repair this, or rather find a replacement for the audio transformer. So, well, that's it guys for now. I'm afraid I'll have to make at least one episode extra before I can start aligning this radio. So, well, yeah, that's it for now. I'll hope to show you an update the coming week. So stay tuned. Until then, bye. You remember this transformer, guys? This was the transformer I took out of the EverReady N3 chassis because its primary coil was broken. In effect, it measured infinitely. So, or rather the resistance measured infinitely. So, I was sort of, well, ticked off because I had already started to clean the transformer when I realized I hadn't measured it yet. Obviously, I should have done so before I started cleaning. Anyway, I felt sort of disgusted yesterday, so I threw away the old transformer. There, it's gone. Now, in my desperation, I started to look among the parts which I had hoarded years and years ago, just in case. And, well, maybe it's because we're approaching Christmas or something, but something of a little miracle happened, because this happened. Ah, yes, indeed. I found an audio transformer with nearly the same properties of the old one. To start with, if you put them next to each other, I think you'll agree that both transformers, at least size-wise, and well, looks, I would say, are pretty much the same thing. Same width, same height, same width, like this. So, except for the fact that this one has black wires and a black body, this one is pretty much the same thing. It has 4 contacts, 6 contacts, this one, contrary to this one, which only had 4, or has 4. But when I measure the values of the coils that I'm going to use, they are pretty much the same thing as the old one. Now, how do I know that, since the old one is broken? Well, I took a peek at the schematic of the EverReady N chassis, because remember, this is an N3 chassis, but EverReady made, just before it made this model, which uses a lower power tubes, vacuum tubes, it made an N designated chassis, also with low power tubes. Now, I took a peek at its schematic, and the audio transformer on the N chassis had a transformer with a primary which has a value of around about 450 ohms and a secondary of 0.25 ohms. This one has a primary of 330 ohms and a secondary of 7.75 ohms. So although it's not quite identical, it's quite close to being the same value. Now, I must admit, I'm not entirely sure the sound which will come out of this transformer, or rather from the speaker once it's connected to the transformer, will be enjoyable to listen to. But I thought I would give it a try. I don't think it'll harm the chassis. And anyway, to compensate for the primary being too low a value of resistance, I'll put in a resistor to match the resistance that it should have, according to, remember, the schematic of the N chassis. We'll see. I'll experiment a little bit, but I think it'll work out. It doesn't draw too much current, I think, and therefore I'm using a 1/4 watt resistor. I have the same one in a 1 watt and a 2 watt version. If this resistor would run too hot, I can still change its its power value to 1 watt or even 2 watts if necessary. But I don't think that will be the case. Now, if you take into account that the speaker has 4 ohms resistance, a little bit more, and this transformer has an output resistance of 7.75, I think it's reasonably well matched. So I don't think the sound will be too distorted. We'll see. I think adding a resistor in series with the primary might reduce at least the volume of the overall volume level a little bit, and maybe it might distort the sound somewhat. Now, if the sound is really totally unpalatable, well, then I'll end up by searching a new audio transformer which has all the necessary specifications equal to the original one. But until then, I'll go with this one, and well, if the miracle holds up, the radio might still turn out okay. Now, what do you say to this, huh, guys? Ain't that a miracle? This is a real miracle. I mean, who would have thought I would have exactly this transformer lying about? Because I swear, except for this one, I only had tiny little audio transformers from tiny little pocket radios, or one big transformer coming out of an old TV set. So this this stumps me, yes. I mean, I would never have expected this, but well, there you go. I found one. So this just proves to me that hoarding specific parts is not such a bad thing, as long as it doesn't become pathological, of course. You don't have to start to hoard everything you encounter. But still, keeping a few choice electronic parts aside, well, as you can see, it can help out. So let me continue building in this transformer into the chassis, and as soon as I have the right power source for it, we can have a go at powering the chassis up and listening to the sound that comes out of it. I'm curious. I'm really curious. So cross your fingers and let's hope I can make this radio work. Until soon, stay tuned.